Okay, my friends, one of the biggest challenges or objections that I get around taking your one-on-one business and moving it into a scalable online model is how in the heck do you do the tech? So I want to talk about that today because one of the, the best things that you can do for your business is to incorporate technology, automation, AI, whatever it is that you think of in terms of technology. It will change your business. It will change the way that you show up, and it will maximize your ability to serve without it taking up all of your time. So I want to dive into that a little bit today. Even if you're not tech savvy, even if you feel like you don't even know what the heck is going on, right? Like there are lots of people and teams that can help you through this process. We are one of those teams. We have the ability to help you create and optimize your tech stack in your, whichever business you have. Primarily, we help online businesses create the tech stack that they need in order to maximize their ability to serve their clients and engage them in the business. But even if you don't have a team, even if you don't have us, I want to talk about a couple of things that will help you as you are getting into this game. So first of all, just to qualify this a little bit, and I think most of you who are listeners on the podcast kind of know my background, but I literally have been, back in the day, I used to call myself a closet computer nerd because that was like way before, computers took over our entire lives. But I have been building in one way, shape, or form computer systems, online learning management systems, learning systems, and all sorts of other things for over 20 years. So I've got a ton of tech experience. It's one of the things that I'm passionate about. It's one of the things that I love. I have years and years of experience. But I will tell you that over all of that time, as tech has evolved and gotten easier, and there's, all sorts of, visual tools now that help us so we don't have to code and do all of those other things. I will tell you that the one success factor that has helped me and dozens of other people over time is that you're not starting with the tech. And you're literally, the tech is a tool that helps you maximize what you have created. It is not the thing that, it's not like the driver, right? It's the thing that helps to support what you're doing. So I will always, if you have a conversation with me, the very first thing I'm ever going to tell you, if you ask me about a tool or you ask me about which one is the best or why it's the best or, all of the things. And yes, I can answer all those questions because my depth of knowledge of all things tech is very, very deep. But before any of that, I'm going to ask you, what are the requirements that you have in your business that require technology? And have you map out that whole process on paper. And, if you are one of my wonderful clients, you've heard me say, get a piece of paper, get out of the computer. The very worst thing that you can do is to open a computer program, whether it's PowerPoint or Word or some sort of complicated software, and go in there and look at that blank screen and start to build something. And I'm going to tell you that, especially if you're not tech savvy, the people who are tech savvy are not doing that. So if you're staring at a blank screen and you're like, I don't even know where to start, this is so overwhelming. I feel like, the tech is just way too complicated for me. Give yourself a break, go to a piece of paper, open up your journal, do whatever it is that you want to do, and just write out, what is it that you are creating in terms of a customer journey? What are you creating in terms of what you need to automate or you want to automate? And write all of that out. What are your business requirements for using technology? So an example of this is email, right? So I actually, it is mind-boggling to me. So if you are this person, I do not mean to speak about this lightly, but There are a lot of people who come to me and they still do not have an email automation tool that they are using for their business. And to me, that is table stakes. So if you are sending emails from your personal email account or your business email account to each client, and each one is different, then you need to listen up, because even if you do nothing else, if you move to an email automation tool that allows you to send out personalized emails to multiple people at the same time, your world will change. I remember back in the day that we used to have whenever we would get a new client, my project manager would literally write the email to every single new client. And we had a conversation and I was like, well, so are you kind of saying the same thing to every new client when you welcome them and get them set up in our project management system? And he was like, well, yeah, I guess, yeah, it's pretty much the same thing. And I'm like, awesome. So let's draft that email and then we can send out that email automatically to every single new client that we have. And they'll all get that message at exactly, the same time when they start. And they'll know exactly what it is that you want to say to them. And it's going to take you, maybe 2 minutes instead of 20 or 30 minutes to craft an email, personalized email, custom email to each and every client each and every time. And he's like, oh, yeah, that sounds great. So we did that. And literally, he saved hours a week just by that one email. And so if that's you and you're like, oh, I don't even know like how I would do all of this tech. It's so complicated. There's so many things. That's start small. Start with the things that you're doing on a regular basis that are eating up your time. Another one that, again, it always surprises me when people don't have this yet, because I feel like once I had this, my whole world transformed, was we used to spend all of this time trying to get meetings scheduled with our clients. We would be like, okay, so, when are you free? Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at this time or this time or this time. And then you would send an email back and you'd be like, yep, I can meet at this time. But only for do you know what I mean? Like you would go back and forth and try and schedule these meetings. Holy crap. I still can't even believe that we used to do this on a regular basis. We would waste all of this time trying to figure out when we can align our calendars using tools that allow somebody to click on a link and then get on the calendar based on what works for them is a game changer, right? That is a great tech automation that will change your world if you're not using that yet, especially if you're still doing one-on-one work. Is instead of trying to coordinate all of that, send them a link to your calendar, let them put themselves on the calendar when it matches their schedule. And then the byproduct of that is then they have a meeting request on their calendar with the link to the, Zoom or Google Meets or whatever you're using, Teams. And then you also can schedule it where the reminders go out to say, hey, just a reminder, this call's coming up. Hey, just a reminder, this call's coming up. Even when I'm scheduling doctor's appointments or those types of things, it always is mind-blowing to me when the medical companies don't have a way for me to automatically get on their calendar. So again, huge game changer. But so often when people are having that sort of I'm not tech savvy conversation with themselves, they're thinking about all of the things. And then of course, everybody gets overwhelmed. And so map out your requirements, grab some of those low hanging fruit things that you could turn into a tech automation, start there, and then start to look at, okay, so what else can I use in terms of technology to transform my business and be able to serve my clients in a way that helps improve their experience, maximize your time, and add engagement and interactivity and all of the things in it so that people can start participating. We have, systems and core platforms that we help our clients get into with all all of the, the tech, all of the big picture, all of the templates, all of the things. But the bottom line is that you don't have to be tech savvy to think about the experience that you want your customers to go through and identify the things that you're doing in your business that are taking up time that don't need to be taking up time, because there's probably an automation for that. And so that is my advice for you, is if sort of the tech piece of this is your biggest hurdle and challenge, then start doing that. Just take a piece of paper and start writing down kind of all of the things that you are doing that feel repetitive. And I bet there's a tech solution for them. And then start thinking about your broader platform of how do you take your one-on-one, services, how do you package them into one authority model? And then how do you build out your entire your scalable online business? That's going to be a progression. By the time you've built your core online business, most often people have like 30 to 40% of kind of the tech sketched out before they go into that bigger solution. And for goodness sake, do not go into any tool, even if it's PowerPoint, and start with a blank screen. Map it out, draw some mock-ups on paper or in a different system, and then start to apply it when you're building out the tech. If you look at, and you can just Google this, but if you look at technology companies who are building websites or core platforms like we're doing, or anything else, you can see that they create mock-ups first. They create prototypes first, like on paper or on a program, and then they build it into the actual finished platform. Professionals who are doing this have that sort of 3-step process that they take when they're building something. They don't just go from a blank screen. They don't go into Kajabi and start like putting stuff in there randomly. They have it all sketched out. They do kind of the testing and the use cases and all of the things in the prototype, even a paper version, and then they create it into the tool. And so if you haven't had that experience of working with a professional tech company, you can, like I said, Google it, see how people are doing this, but they're not going in and just like randomly putting things together in a tool. There's a more methodical process than that. So I do encourage you to do a little research in that. But if tech is the thing that's getting you down, start outside of the tech and then slowly start adding it into your business. It will change the game for you. And if you do need help, give me a shout. Happy to walk you through the process for how do you start looking at dialing in some of the opportunities that are in your current business, and then how do you start shifting it into an awesome online experience that helps people get results faster and with more efficiency for you and your time as you start to build out a scalable business model. All right, there you go.